for all the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Cool. So now, it's a bit more complicated because we've applied. Right. One thing, we don't want any of the subgrade material to be coming back to the mill, so
Right.
you can basically delete that
Yeah.
because effectively
Fair enough.
you're not going to do anything there. So what this is basically saying is you're going to feed material to the low-grade stockpile. Some of that low-grade stockpile material can go to the mill, or you can take material from here to the mill. So we'll get onto this later, but if you wanted to send high grade preferentially to the mill, what you can do is you can set constraints to say that no low grade material can be sent to the mill for a period of time,
Alright.
for example, which will mean that it forces it to go to the low grade stockpile, and then equally it stops any low grade material being rehandled from low grade stockpile to the mill until a certain date. And then, in a combination with setting grade targets in here, you can force it to preferentially feed high grade material. Okay,
Right.
if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
anyway, what we'll do for now is we'll just run a schedule, right? So if you click blend, it comes up with this fancy dashboard, which looks all fancy, right? And what it really is doing here is it's saying, well, what do we want to target? So
Yeah.
if you click target tonnage, if you click this little open thing, right, that shows you, well, what targets have we got? We've got the mill feed target. That's really what we want to drive it. So if you make that 100, okay, 100%, that's really targeting at 100%.
Yeah.
If you put target tonnage up to 100% as well. Then target quality, click don't care because we're not targeting any qualities at the moment. Source priority, we don't care. Mine everything, make that about 50. You can type 50 in if you want as well. Ratios, don't care, we haven't got any ratios. Flow penalties, no, we don't care, right? Flow constraints, now we do care about these. So if we put them on to say 50, just start with 50 for now. Source constraint, don't care. Fulfill dependencies, it will fulfill the dependencies. Use all resources, don't care. So leave fulfill dependencies on 1 for now because they're pretty much hard. If you click use all resources, don't care. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clear everything, and then we're going to, as in, if there was an existing schedule, it'll clear it, and then we're going to run the schedule to see what happens. So if you click clear blend or destinations, and click start. Following up all issues with the blend.
More than one source.
What the hell does this mean?
For 1179.
Task force item source. That's not good. Fixes source. Oh right, you've probably got.
there might be.
There might be an error.
In the filters.
Cut back 1. Yeah, no
It's not
filter.
filter.
Okay.
Didn't save
Right.
that or something.
It mustn't have saved.
Yeah.
Why isn't it applying this damn
Yeah,
filter?
it's forgetting it. Maybe you should just delete that one and create it again. Because this one was created before we had the previous, or the update. Yeah.
It's really annoying. No.
Yeah.
I don't understand understand how it can be so full of bugs.
These ones you would think
Would be the least.
are pretty in your face.
It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Mhm. Doesn't strike me as very difficult to program, no.
No, okay. Where's your desert contained? The mining model.
Probably is,
Yeah.
should
Yeah,
move it.
put it in a different place, but don't
Yeah.
worry about it for now.
Yeah.
I thought they fixed this bug ages ago. It's working now. Yeah?
Yep. Do we need to recreate this?
Flood constraints.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do. Should be the same.
Let's see, one is probably not known anymore, is it? No, so we have to set that. For total material movement as well.
Mm. Okay, looks about right.
Yep. Task from source CV2.
Inferred haven't been turned on.
Right. That was for CV4 was the case as well. But that will be,
Yeah.
you switch it on there and then it will be correct. No, not
I
really.
don't think you turned these on.
Yeah.
Let's
Yep.
go and reset this material.
I think it forgets them.
I'm going to ask Phil. Oh, Phil's not here. I'm going to ask Sarah because she had this problem as well.
Mm.
I can't believe that this is still happening. This is a bug which.
See if it does anything. No. It's all from CV1, so maybe it is
Dave, how are you? Good.
Got the filter
Yes.
in,
That says it.
because all the
Can
destinations.
you hear me,
in.
Dave?
Yeah, how's it going?
Okay.
Is it not working?
Can I
It's still
quickly
giving
share
me
my
an
screen
issue with
you?
CV1, even though it's
what's it
cleared the
saying?
log. It said, the same thing it said before, but the filter is in,
Okay. I've had a look at the mining capital.
and it has all the destinations.
So
Have a look.
sheet that I'm working from. So I had a chat with Bob to see what the different portions in the mining capital entails.
It's all SG.
So basically, the reason why I phone you up is just to see if, just to get your opinion on
Any
on,
destination. I've just forgotten those
on
things
this.
again.
Basically, they
But that
it
we
doesn't
did
look to me
have that
they've
issue.
included replacement capital. So I mean, I figured this out. It's basically your capital associated with upper
Check
kind of
the
expenses.
mill,
okay.
the high
High
grade.
grade.
It's basically a total of the
Yeah.
primary equipment, those trucks, which I've just split in two, so that is really not saying much. Basically, I'm just looking at the bottom line.
Took a while.
Yeah. So this is all of this is basically just construction related costs. It's just mining works, construction of the refuse waste
The whole thing is not
tailings,
working correctly.
and so
It shouldn't,
forth. But anyways, so I've just
shouldn't look like this, but anyway.
Oh.
so it's got the same headings as
Right.
these at the top.
So if you want
So I
to
don't know
go now
what
to
the difference
view,
is really, but it seems like
view
it's
report.
the operating cost of the equipment associated with the
What we want
mining
to do, right, is
construction type
just
work.
drag
So,
it over a bit.
it refers to this sheet, which basically says.
What you want to do is
costs of
we need to set up the time that it's looking now.
Oh.
If you right click on here,
Which I'm not sure that is, but
we're going to set up
we've all had a look at
the
it.
timings.
Right.
So
Looks
we
like
only
it's,
really want one tier. At the moment we've got two tiers. We've got month and day. But what we're interested in is if you put the number of tiers down to one.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to set up a new one or just a
Sorry,
default?
Right, and then instead of months in the division, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, blended. That is
Right, okay.
monthly for the first
As
3
it
years.
was set up
Exactly.
there, yeah.
And if you click OK now,
Highway numbers, so I think that's roads inside of
yeah,
that.
that's fine. So now what you've got is you've got all the months and then you've got all the
So
quarters.
It looks like
If you expand that, yeah.
this construction and the equipment, I've just translated it the way we both discussed it.
This is the monthly
It looks
quantities.
like this is just more like a construction
Right.
associated
Right.
cost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we also need to report on,
So
if you
I
right
can't
click in here and
from
change
this-
the report setup a bit,
The logic doesn't
because
show
we've got
me
all
that
we've got the
that
bits,
actually
the
consider
mining, but
equipment
we can add the
replacements.
blending in here.
Right, okay. And what
Under-
can we add?
Well, if you look under mill,
Oh, the
obviously you've got the
destinations.
mill incoming.
Yeah.
You can do split between total, high grade and low grade. So if you make that,
Okay.
yeah. If you drag that on,
I mean, if you look at the
Just
Yeah.
a heading or
No,
the
try that
individual
one.
ones?
I've just,
right, that gives you the total
okay.
quantity. In fact, yeah,
I had a
what
nice
you can do is
little graph
delete the
here,
top
but
one.
My Excel crashed,
This is-
so
Yeah.
that must have been lost.
You do high grade, just take the quantity in the AU,
Sorry. Pretty sure I saved.
and then low grade.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, you can
You see
from
here,
the numbers. I know
report
you don't
sum,
like-
but you want
Yeah, you want
actually
average,
average for
yeah.
that.
Basically, if
Yeah. And put sum for the others. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a graphics problem. So it is. Yeah,
equipment
and you
totals
click
for
OK.
trucks.
Mhm.
So the capital purchase.
It puts these all at the bottom, so you can see here that here's
Yeah.
the mill quantity.
Right.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
pretty good. Obviously, you can see here that the average AU
Now there's
here.
something
Your
wrong there.
capital
That's
purchases
because in
have
row
its
total,
initial years.
it's going to
Okay,
be.
so
Right,
It gives
okay.
you the total,
Yeah,
right?
plateaus.
Not the.
Not the
And then
average.
Not the
production
average.
drops off.
Actually, I think this is the
I wonder-
reporting thing that I was telling you about.
Yeah,
So
I
for
wonder
example,
if
if you were
they
to close it
just
now,
assumed that, you know,
that's
they would be able to
76.68,
Alright,
yeah.
and then open it again.
But I
and-
think if you open it again, I
push
think
it
it just,
for another.
I think it just needs to like
12.
reset the data that it's reading. I don't know. I don't really.
Okay, so I'll just.
Or maybe it is just summing. I think you probably have to put an average in there for it to.
Maybe it doesn't remember what we needed.
Should have done.
Average, yeah.
These are all fine. It's just.
Alright.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well,
It's
tough.
still
Just-
waiting. It's just waiting it correctly. I don't know, I think it's just a reporting thing. It doesn't really matter massively because you don't actually report on these. When we report, we always report on
Yeah.
these values. So,
Yeah,
so effectively
looking
now,
at excavators.
you can,
This is what they
do the
tend to
scheduling
get, so there's
in
nothing
here.
that ought
you
to
take
be-
this and you put it into an Excel spreadsheet template which we've already got.
Mhm.
And then you can
How do you take it? Do you export
literally
it
just
or
right,
just
right click,
and copy all?
all,
Okay.
and then paste. So
940.
Easy.
in our
This is
so if you
what
go back to the P drive, back to the 7.3.
Because this little table is what the previous
7.3.3.4 I think it is.
Yeah.
We can follow this, follow that link.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Under project data,
Okay, so yeah,
mining,
this is upper
rifle
limit
mine
plan.
plan. And if you make this a bit bigger, and then
Yeah.
if you copy upside case 3 and put it on your local drive.
That's right. We accept this is a total for 9400s.
Australian.
This is a total. So obviously where it increases by 1, then it assumes.
And then if
that
you
there's
change the name of it
one
maybe to
additional.
a training or something. And then you open that up. So this is the spreadsheet that we were going through before, right?
Yeah.
So red tabs are the tabs that you would be copying and then pasting out of Deswick, and then the rest of them are
I've seen,
set up for looking at the schedule in different ways. Like for example, schedule is where it's set up to report everything. You see here monthly, and then goes quarterly.
Mhm.
So you do monthly up to a certain period, then quarterly.
Yeah.
So when you look at the charts, this is showing you the monthly and then the quarterly. But I've also set up this thing, which it's a bit of a manual process to set it up, but it sums
Right.
everything on a quarterly basis
All right. Okay.
from
Yeah.
the schedule, right, tab, and then puts everything into quarterly. So now these are the charts
Right.
for on a quarterly basis, okay? And then you've got the same thing here. You've got adding up annually, and then you've got the
Right.
annual
Yeah,
charts,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Okay.
Now, effectively, what we're doing is we've got the scheduler output out. This, all of this data, right, is me just copying and then pasting.
Mhm.
But and then the schedule sheet I then go and set up, okay, the way that I want to report everything, you know, the amount of infer, the amount of subgrade, high grade.
Yeah.
But then link that back to the
Yeah. To the
scheduler sheet,
yeah.
the scheduler
Yeah.
sheet that you've pasted into, right? And so it's important to set up everything that you want to report on
before you do that.
before
Yeah.
you then
Yeah.
spend loads of time setting this up and that, because obviously you can change this afterwards by like inserting some rows and then pasting back in. That'll keep the links.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like for
Yeah.
example,
I
if
I
I
know.
wanted to add
Yeah.
another cut back, then you can
Yeah.
add in. So
But it would be
a bit of a pain in the arse.
yeah.
So it's important to set up the reporting as much as you can in here first
Yeah.
with things that you're going to want to
You
know.
have one that is sort of roughly okay, and then
Yeah, and then paste it in here. Then you can make
And-
some
yeah,
modifications.
yeah.
So, for example, I like to report like tons,
Okay.
but
Right.
then report tons by
We'll
stage.
do that. Thank you. That's all.
Mhm.
So, and then the high grade
Okay.
indicated,
Okay.
high grade
Fine.
inferred, low grade indicated. Like this one, I actually made my legend where I had the inferred material split high and low grade and subgrade, so I know the grade distribution. Now in
Right,
this
okay.
case, we haven't, just
No.
to make it, to keep it simple, right? So what I would suggest is a really good exercise, although boring, but very good practice, is to basically delete this, right?
Mhm.
Think about what you want to show. Now,
Yeah.
there's lots of other bits in here, like these capacity constraints and targets, which we're not using. We'd only use them if we were going to be doing more complicated scheduling. But here, we're just simply reporting out the open pit physicals. So that's just like the tons, basically.
Mhm.
Then we've got pit progression, so we're reporting the total rock, waste, inferred, and the grade of each of those, the subgrade, the high grade, the low grade, total X pit, total ROM, maximum bench, minimum bench, right,
Mhm.
which you can report out as well. And I'm doing it by cutback. So for example, here I've got it pushback 1, all of this, right?
Mhm.
Pushback 2, all of this, pushback 3, pushback 4. And then a split of the total ROM, so the indicated high and low grade, the inferred indicated and low grade. Sorry, high grade and low grade. Underground physicals, there isn't any underground in this,
Yeah.
so that's empty. Then the plant feed is what we're linking back to the blending plant feed. We've got a high grade stockpile balance, a low grade stockpile balance, and a sub grade stockpile. In our one, we've only got a low grade
Yeah.
stockpile. And then we've got some other current stockpiles, which is manually I've put in there, right?
Right.
Which is not in the Deswik at all, it's just an Excel
Yeah.
thing that I'm doing. And then we can also actually later on report how much pre-split is occurring, because you can, Deswik will calculate the length of the wall that is
Okay.
being exposed on a period by period basis.
No, that's very useful.
And then you've got the haulage analysis, which is a whole nother step later down the road, but that will then look up stuff from the haulage CSV, which we've imported, right? So to get used to this reporting sheet takes a bit of time, but what I think is a really good exercise to do is to it's a real pain, it will take you a good few hours, is to basically, you know, start from scratch basically,
Yeah.
with a blank sheet here, paste everything in that you need, and then step through line by line and make sure you've got it set up and it's reporting everything that you want it to be reporting. And then at that point you can then make the schedule quarterly copy and then the copy of the annual. I don't know if that's something you want to do now, possibly not, because it's...
No, I think well, I'm also
It's
thinking it's
time consuming.
it's time consuming, but it's also, I mean, I'll work that out.
You probably
It's
work
not
that out.
It's not complicated.
That's,
So
yeah.
if there's anything software related that we should
We can
tackle,
cover-
then yeah.
Look, Glenn, too, well, okay, so the only other thing really in here, this gives you flexibility. This is where you control the schedule, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, if let's just go down a couple. The reason it's really important to have that spreadsheet set up early, it's like literally the first thing you do,
Yeah.
is because you can't analyse the data
Yeah.
properly unless you have a spreadsheet that you can put it into.
Yeah. So you can see the
So
charts.
you can see the charts and everything. So
Yeah.
if we just, for instance, have a look at this now. If we plot also see that we've scheduling far further than we actually need to in terms of time.
Yeah.
So that's the mill feed,
Looks
right?
pretty good.
Yeah, looks okay. So that's mill feed, but now obviously it's not just mill feed that we're interested in. Let's just do total tons. So you see here that you're mining like just under 2 million, and it steps up a bit and then we go up and then it ramps down again. It's total mining rate. Now, so what we're really interested in here is in the reporting, for example, I'll show you how to do this, to report by cutback. I'll show you how to do that very quickly. So if you edit the report, and under, you see here you've got tons.
Mhm.
You see here you've got group source. If you click on that and select stage,
Right.
and then click OK, and then just click away, just click somewhere like that. So right, now what it's done is it's for stage 1, 2, 3 and 4 going to report all the tons. So if you click OK,
Alright, okay.
there you go, now we've got 103 million tons total, but you've got the split.
Yeah.
Right?
That's nice.
So that's really good because you need to be able to report all the volumes and everything by it. And then that allows you to plot it, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you do the stage. To measure sync rate, this is a really important part because, again, there's no sync rate limiter. We need to know what the sync rate is.
Yeah.
So what you can do is in the report, if you add another row in the report called RL max, I normally will call it. And then if you go field, then there should be a bench field. Oh, actually, I'll try and see if bench is in there. I don't know if bench will be in there. No, it's not. Right. If you just click cancel, at the moment the bench is existing as a custom field,
Yeah.
which we can't report on. We need to report on the production fields. So we just need to
Right.
make a production field equal the bench level.
Okay, that
Go
was
set up, that's
set
it.
up, yeah.
I think I'll minimise that by
Yeah.
accident.
Okay, how do we get it back? Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. I think.
No, doesn't look like it. Alright, now it's the
Yeah.
drop down thingy. Okay. So we need a
We need a new production field,
Yeah.
so we add that in, called bench RL. And then under the formula, yeah, make it expression, make it equal
okay.
the custom field that you've got,
Right, okay.
which is bench integrating it, and then click OK. And then OK again. Right, now go into the report edits. Now we can add that production field in that we've just created, which is under.
Just add a new row there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it should be in the
Should be now bench RL should exist. There you go. Now.
Okay, max RL.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And then if you do, if you scroll to the left, we don't want the period total. We want the maximum.
Yeah, okay.
Then we add another one and do minimum.
Minimum, yeah. So I inserted it above. Meanwhile,
So now what we want, yeah, group source exactly. Make that equal stage.
and then circle it stage.
Yeah. And then click OK. You have to click somewhere for it to make it work. So click OK. Now what we've got at the bottom here is we've got, for example, on this month,
Yeah.
we are mining between the
490 and 290.
that's total, but
Yeah.
here you've got what's that, 390 and 290. Now I noticed something before. This is probably just a slight error. If you see here, you've got 370, 360, 360, 360, 360, 360. What
Yes,
that 290 is probably just an anomaly.
Yeah.
It's probably like a tiny little block. You see
Right.
how much is being mined stage 1. It's probably just a tiny little fragment that's at that lower level that hasn't been included in the dependency.
Alright, okay.
If you know what I mean, for
Yeah.
some reason. So I wouldn't, like, you can actually look and see where it is as well. If you collapse to, say, bench, right? Also this is annoying. There you go.
Right.
Right, so, for example,
Oh, there's 290.
there you go, look,
that's
there you
the
go,
one,
you see?
yeah.
So there's some tiny little fragment of something that's happening there. You can even expand it. You see here, there's basically that bench, the 290 bench,
Yeah.
it's missed. You know, it's
Maybe
only
there was,
some tiny amount of ore or something in it.
or maybe the ramp didn't go down to 290.
Yeah, I think actually possibly what happens that what's happened is when you've done the dependencies, it hasn't included the bottom bench because sometimes you have to go past the bottom bench for it to be included.
Right, okay.
So what I often do is extend the dependency down another 10 meters and then it incorporates it.
Right.
But you see, what we've done is we've run a schedule.
Yep.
Right, basic one. We can now actually visualize that schedule here. So if you go into
Yeah.
visualization
Animation.
mode, yeah, animation mode. Right, and then if you go into options and go into animation period, you can say, well, what periods do we want to animate by? Maybe do it by month, or if you want, you can do it quarterly. So if you make that number of, you can do it 3. So now we're looking quarterly. And click
Yeah.
OK. It's rejigged it, and now you can click through on an individual. Yeah, that one. Yeah, there we go. So you can see here, this is. So there you go.
Indeed. Yeah, schedule.
You have a schedule. So the balance is all about reporting total
Yeah.
material movement rates by cutback to make sure that you're not mining like 10 benches in one and none in another.
Yeah.
And making sure that you're hitting the mill feed targets, checking how much material is going to the stockpile and how much is coming off the stockpile, because it's a bit of a stupid system. It only does what you tell it to do. if you mine more ore than it requires, it will put it on the stockpile,
Yeah.
right? So it won't then necessarily know to rehandle either the stockpile or take material from the pit. So what you have to do is you have to, for example, limit the amount of material that can be put on the stockpile. So, for example, if you want to do low-grade stockpiling at the beginning, you might say, right, only allow it to feed material to the stockpile for the first 2 years. After that, don't feed any material to the stockpile. Equally, if you have a high-grade stockpile, so in this case we have a high-grade stockpile because you need to mine more high-grade to stockpile it to then rehandle to the mill to fill the gaps. You have to allow the stockpile to feed material, allow the stockpile to be built, but then when you don't want any more high-grade stockpiling, you want to direct feed from the pit, you can physically say, using the constraints, no more high-grade to the high-grade stockpile.
Yeah.
And you limit and you say stop. So it's all about using the constraints in combination with the report.
Yeah, so it's a little bit the way that I did the mine scheduling as well. I found it so hard to get it to do what I wanted it to do in setting the targets. I just started by period.
Yeah.
You know, I started limiting things. And
Exactly.
okay, well, just stop now and do that. And
Exactly. Yeah.
because
Really, you have to.
automated it just didn't work.
No, really, you. This is the thing as well, which was difficult to explain to Alexi. This is not an optimizer. It doesn't have the ability to look forward in time and make optimal choices. Okay, you already should know what the optimal mining sequence is here. That's the idea, and then you're actually just recreating it in more detail, finesse. Now in the mill here, we only set a target for tonnage.
Yeah. It's having a good day.
It's not having a good day at all. You can also set grade targets, right?
Right.
So under, I know they are developing I know they are developing a blending module which has the ability to optimize and look forward, which is possibly what that blend 2 business is about. How much space have you got in your drive?
Um,
Plenty, right?
yeah.
Sometimes it's a problem, there's not enough space.
Seriously, working now. Thought I heard a vacuum cleaner on it, so.
Completely, no. Something that's buggy for me now. Right, so you can also under targets, if you do this little drop down here, you can set AU like grade targets. So if you go like grade target, you can set penalties, and you can set like a grade target of like 2 or something. You know?
Right.
And then it will try and target 2 grams a ton for that period of time. Same
How
here.
does it target? Just simply just
So if it
putting
has high grade
stuff-
available,
lower
it'll preferentially
stuff
be
will
high
go
grade.
to the
It'll
stockpile.
go to, or it won't mine. It'll target an area which will have higher grade
Right, yeah, okay.
within the
In terms of the mining.
within the
okay.
parameters, right?
So on each bench, it will look
Look at what's highest grade there.
highest grade, and then
Or it will feed material. Yeah, it'll put stuff onto the stockpile. I found it doesn't work that well. What I find better is actually controlling what can and cannot be sent to the stockpile. Yeah, Yeah, that's the way I would do it, because really the strategic schedule is saying, right, feed high grade now, you know, feed low grade now.
Well, also, you know, as a mining engineer, it's impossible to actually target a certain grade in a month. You just
Exactly.
physically can't do it.
Exactly.
Because you've got so many other constraints. So it's better to more simulate what you do in the field than
Exactly.
have some sort of
Yeah.
analytical perfect.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you see a grade profile and it's just like that, then you already know it's completely wrong. I mean, that's
Exactly.
never gonna work like that.
Exactly. So it's better,
Yeah.
in my view, as you say, to do something you do in the field, which might be campaign high grade material above a certain cut-off grade for the first year. Put all the rest of the stuff on the stockpile, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you wanted to, but that's how you would
Right,
do
yeah.
grade
Yeah.
targets in here. Now, one interesting thing you can do, which Gabor was doing before, is in NPV Scheduler you've obviously got an optimal mining sequence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can assign a priority from NPV Scheduler into the block model. You can code a mining priority.
Right.
And then you can import that mining priority as an attribute in the block model. You can then interrogate that attribute into the scheduling solids, and then you can give it a source priority.
Yeah.
You can create a sort which tries to basically you basically target the mining sequence which has been coded into the model. So that will guide the mining sequence, but it's no more effective than knowing what the sequence has to be from NPVS first. So that's what I would suggest. So that's basically
it. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the next step is to do the haulage analysis and everything like that. But that's quite comprehensive and difficult as well.
Right.